There's been a viral video that's been going around. It's a story told by a gifted orator, teacher in Israel, Rabbi Shneur Ashkenazi. It's a very poignant story, especially Israel as it finds itself in a severe lockdown. But I think it really resonates to so many of us, so many of you, to whom this Yom Kippur is going to be significantly different. The story he tells is from his childhood memories growing up in Kfar Chabad in Israel, and the Chazan, Reb Zalman Bronstein, diminutive man in physical stature, but with a melodious and powerful voice that resonated always, but somehow he just was able, it seems, to hit precisely the right note on Yom Kippur, specifically. Precisely the right note at that also powerful moment of Kol Nidrei. One year, Shneur Ashkenazi decided he needed to understand where he gets the inspiration. Where he gets the inspiration to be able to give a Kol Nidrei every single year that is so heartening, so emotional, that is able to solicit such emotions in the congregation year in, year out. So you asked Reb Zalman what his secret was. What did he think of at that powerful moment? And he says, I'll tell you what I think of. It was the height of World War II. The Nazis, Yimach Shemon, were attacking Russia. They were bombarding from the skies, the tanks. And the fight for the survival of Mother Russia was more intense than ever. Everyone was conscripted, including Reb Zalman, who at the time had 3 children. And as he was there, terrified of the fate that awaited him, seeing around him people dying, all of a sudden a commanding officer heard him singing a song. And when he heard him singing a song, he said, listen, you don't belong on the front lines. You belong in the Russian army choir. With a voice like yours, you need to be in the choir. And with that, he was removed from the clutches of death, where hundreds of thousands lost their lives, millions. And he was placed in the Russian army choir. Blessed, as I say, with a beautiful voice. He, in actual fact, was a soloist. And on one occasion, they came and they said, we've got this huge, very important concert that we're going to be having. And you, Reb Zalman, you're going to be one of the key soloists on this particular concert. It's going to be all of the medical staff, the military medical staff are going to be there. And we've got to put on the best we can ever put on. And you, Reb Zalman, you're one of the key soloists. You've got such a magnificent voice. Zalman said, sure. What date is it? They told him the date, and when he made the calculation, he looked at the calendar, he realized that it wasn't just any date, but rather it was Yom Kippur. How's he going to sing on Yom Kippur? How's he going to be in a concert on Yom Kippur? What's he going to do? Came the day, the auditorium was packed with all of these important medical personnel from the Russian army. And Reb Zalman comes over to the person in charge and he says, I can't. He's lost his voice. Laryngitis. They say, how could you lose your voice? We need you. You're the most important person in the country. Look at you. There's nothing I can do. It's not up to me. It's a higher power, a higher force has dictated that I will not be singing this in this concert. Okay, what can you do? Get sent back to the barracks, and there he is, all alone. And he starts singing. He starts singing the songs, the tunes that he can remember from the Yom Kippur service. Does so silent, quietly. And as he's transported to the Yom Kippur of his youth, all of a sudden, in come 3 commanding officers. Bronstein, they say, what are you singing? He thinks, oh, he's been found out. His ploy, his lie has been found out. Said, Bronstein, don't make funny. We know. What are you singing? What day is today? He says, today's Yom Kippur. So they say, Bronstein, sing something for us from Yom Kippur. And he's terrified. Is this a trap? Is this going to prove that he was insubordinate, that he lied? And as he was gripped by this fear, these 3 commanding officers say, don't worry, we're also Jewish. We also would like to hear some of the songs, some of the prayers of Yom Kippur. And they took him out to a forest in the middle of nowhere. 4 people. Reb Zalman Bronstein and these 3 commanding officers. And they say to him, Reb Zalman, make Yom Kippur. And there he stands, singing the melodious tunes, Kol Nidrei, and all the other tunes and songs that pull at our heartstrings each and every single year. And that, coupled with his beautiful voice, his innocence and his purity, just touched not only him, but as he turned around to look at those 3 commanding officers, he saw high-ranking officers in the Russian army who had no semblance outwardly of Jewish affiliation or anything, weeping bitterly as they heard the beautiful sounds of the Yom Kippur davening. And said Reb Zalman to Rabbi Ashkenazi, that is where I go to for my inspiration. To that moment of personal isolation and seclusion, where I was in a Yom Kippur, not with hundreds of co-religionists feeling the power of the shul, not where I was standing from the podium, from the bimah, davening and carrying aloft the prayers of hundreds of Jews. No, that's not the place I went to. That's not the place I go to when I need inspiration. I go to the most powerful Yom Kippur of my life. The Yom Kippur I spent alone. The Yom Kippur I spent at home in isolation. The Yom Kippur I spent away from the rest of the community. My friends, many of you have chosen, and doubtless rightly so, not to attend shul, our shul or any shul, over Yom Kippur because of the virus that is raging. It doesn't mean that it has to be an uninspired, uninspirational Yom Kippur. In fact, you can make it the most inspirational Yom Kippur that year in, year out from here on. You will go back to that moment. You will remember that inspiration, and you will find that inspiration in that moment. May I suggest, if you're not coming to shul, get dressed in your Yom Kippur, Yom Tov clothes and read the Yom Kippur prayers. Friends, if you're not coming to shul, stay at home the entire duration of Yom Kippur. Don't turn on your televisions. Don't go to the computer. Don't turn on your phones. Spend it in personal introspection, reflection. Choose the prayers that resonate most to you and spend the holy hours of Yom Kippur thinking about them, saying them, reflecting upon them. Don't write. This can be not the most depressing Yom Kippur, but the most inspirational, the most uplifting, the most poignant and powerful Yom Kippur of your lives. It's up to you to make it that. You can. You've got a remarkable, unique opportunity to experience, like Reb Zalman, a Yom Kippur of personal introspection, reflection, upliftment, where you keep not only not eating and not drinking, but the other rules and laws as well. And you will see that you can transform this curse of being separated by virtue of the virus into a powerful blessing. And so too may God, just as you transform the negative into a positive, may God transform for all of us the negative decrees into positive decrees. May you all be blessed with a Shana Tova U'Mesukkah, a good and a sweet and a healthy year as we go into 5781. Shana Tova.